going on, you guys? It's John again. Welcome back to the channel. You could have clicked any video online, but you chose to click this one. So your view is greatly appreciated. So guys, I just want to address the elephant in the room. Obviously, it's been a little while since I've uploaded a video. I've had a few things in my personal life come up that have kind of had to take the forefront of my attention for a while. So that's kind of where I've had my focus for the last few weeks here, but we are back. I'm still going to be uploading. I'm still going to be putting content out there for you guys and things like that. It just may not be as frequently as it has been. So that's kind of the update as far as the uploading frequency. So, but in this video, guys, what I want to talk about is the fact that hardly anyone goes outside or spends time outside anymore in 2026. And I'm not saying that literally every single person like just stays inside all day and lives on their devices or whatever. There are some people that are, still outdoorsy and still go outside and have like hobbies outdoors and things like that. But it's not the majority. I'm kind of talking about the majority here, especially in my generation in Gen Z. It definitely seems like the vast majority of people pretty much spend all their free time indoors staring at screens, letting technology kind of control their existence. And I'm not trying to judge anybody, guys. I'm a Gen Z myself, so I fall into this category a little bit myself too. Not to the extent that most people do, but I do still fall into this category to a certain extent. So I'm not trying to act like I'm superior to anybody, or I'm not trying to act like I'm not trying to judge anybody who does this. But at the same time, it does feel like people don't really value going outside anymore. It's just like there are so many people, like I said, especially in Gen Z, a lot of millennials too, who they allow technology to just kind of control their entire existence. They have zero interest or very little interest in participating in their life in the real world. They just want to, they wake up, they may go to work, and the entire time they're at work, they're pretty much on their phone the whole time anyway. As soon as they get off work, they come home and they just indulge themselves in their phone or in their computer or watching TV or something. They're in like a constant, what's the word I'm looking for? They're in a constant state of like escaping reality 24/7. They want nothing to do with reality. They want to just kind of just consume their entire life in social media, in their cell phone, whatever it is, in video games, whatever it is. And again, I play my fair share of video games. I have my fair share of sitting in front of the TV. I have my fair share of playing on my phone too. But again, I actively work to not allow that to kind of happen to me. You know what I mean? I'm still myself. I wanna preserve who I am. I want to preserve myself. I don't want to have my entire consciousness consumed by a cell phone. You know what I mean? I don't want to, in other words, I don't want to allow technology to control my life, right? I still want to exist in the real world and do things outside in the real world. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people in this generation today have kind of forgotten that, how important that is to go outside, you know what I mean, and experience life, experience the world. And I mean, sure, a vast majority of people might go outside to go to work or to go get groceries or this and that or whatever, or to drive to get some errand ran, you know what I mean? But it's not because they want to, it's because they have to. So, I'm not saying that people don't go outside at all, but I'm talking about largely people don't intentionally choose to spend time outside in their free time, you know what I mean? Obviously, we all have to go to work, we all have to run errands, we all have to get groceries, things of this nature, but those are not times whenever it's an intentional choice to go spend your time outdoors. That's like, we all have to do that, you know what I mean? So it's like a lot of these people, they force themselves to do that at the very least, but when they're not doing that, they're stuck inside all day, glued to a fucking screen. So, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be some outdoorsman, some hunter, some fisherman, some camper, some hiker, or some backpacker. You don't necessarily have to be that or make it your personality, but I do think it's important to, go outside and experience life, right? Instead of just sit inside for 8 to 12 hours a day on a cell phone, or letting some screen completely control your entire day or your entire existence. I think that's not good. And I think there's a lack of self-awareness with a lot of people in this generation today where they don't really see a problem with that. They think that it's normal to, wake up. Let's just say, for example, it's a Saturday morning. A lot of people wake up, they immediately get on the phone, and they just lay in their bed all day long and scroll on social media or whatever all day long, and they have no interest in going outside. They have no interest in like doing anything for real at all. You know what I mean? They literally just lay there all day or sit there on the couch all day and let a cell phone consume their life. You know what I mean? And they don't see a problem with it. There's, like I said, there's a lack of self-awareness, so they don't think that they don't think that what they're doing is like bad for them, or is causing them to become depressed, or they don't. It's almost like they don't see the reality that they're not even living their life at all. You know what I mean? They're letting a cell phone live their life for them, essentially. And I think that's bad, guys. I think that's bad. We're human beings. You know what I mean? We're human beings. We're a part of nature. We're supposed to be outside. We're supposed to be in society. You know what I mean? We're supposed to be participating in society. We're supposed to be outside, which is our natural habitat. You know what I mean? But a lot of people that are kind of around my age, this is just what I've noticed. They don't really have much of an interest in living their life. Essentially, that's kind of how I would put it. Really, going outside is what I really mean, but they don't have an interest in living their life at all. They just want to stay inside all day long and do nothing, and then just stare at a cell phone screen all day while it feeds them slop. You know what I mean? And they just turn their fucking brain off. It's just like, I'm gonna do nothing, turn my brain off, don't think for myself, and just let the cell phone think for me. And I'm just never gonna engage in my life at all. I'm just never gonna do anything. And I'm just going to, sit back, lay down all day and for 8 to 12 hours a day and just let this technology completely control my life and tell me what to do and tell me who I am and all this kind of stuff. And what you'll find too, and what I've found, is with a lot of these people who just kind of do nothing all day, you know what I mean? They just lay down on their couch or whatever and do nothing all day, and have no interest in doing anything. These people will complain that they're like depressed, or that they're sad, or they're not feeling great about themselves, or whatever the case may be. And the thing about it is, if they were to actually look themselves in the mirror and look at their behavior and look at things that they're doing and try to change those things, like maybe instead of laying on the couch for 12 hours a day looking at a cell phone, maybe if you were to change your behavior and actually do something different, put the cell phone down for a minute, stop letting it control your life, stop letting it give you all this horrible content that makes you feel bad about yourself and makes you compare yourself to other people 24/7. Maybe if you were to go outside, put that shit down for a little bit and actually go do something, you know what I mean? Maybe you would feel better and you wouldn't be depressed all the time. Anybody who's spending all their time indoors staring at a fucking screen, not doing anything, is going to be depressed. I mean, that's just the nature of it. That's how these things work, you know what I mean? You're literally going against your nature as a human being. You're not doing anything. You're sitting around intentionally like being lazy and not doing anything. And of course you're going to be depressed. I mean, that's just the case. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not trying to judge anybody here, guys. I've had my own issues with depression in the past. I've had my own issues with self-esteem in the past, so I get it. But those are things that you can fix. Those are things that you can change. You know what I mean? Those are things that you can feel better if you change your behavior. Those are things that if you get off your ass, you know what I mean, and actually do something with yourself, instead of just being apathetic and lazy and letting the cell phone control your whole life, then you can feel better. You know what I mean? I don't know about you guys, but every time I go outside and I'm in the sunlight, I'm in nature, you know what I mean, I feel better. I just do. I feel better, and I think that's kind of by design, right? We're supposed to be outside. We're supposed to be, participating in the world. We're just supposed to be. And I always feel better when I'm outside, guys. Like, I like to spend time indoors sometimes. Like I said, I play my fair share of video games. I spend my fair share of time in front of the TV. I spend my fair share of time scrolling on my cell phone too, just like anyone else. But I don't do it anywhere near as often or as frequently or as many hours as the average person does, I'm self-aware enough to understand and realize that I should not be spending most of my time doing that kind of thing. You know what I mean? But most people, especially in Generation Z, definitely are not that self-aware. And, you know, a lot of these people are depressed and anxious, and a lot of the reason for it is just because they are consumed by social media, they're consumed by a cell phone, they're consumed by technology, and they don't even realize that that's what's happening to them, guys. I mean, that's kind of the game. That's kind of the game today is, don't allow technology to control your whole existence, because that's what's pretty much happening. You know what I mean? A lot of people today are letting technology control their existence, control their life, and they're not really interested in being a part of the world, the real world. You know what I mean? They've kind of forgotten that the real world exists, and it's like a lot of us are okay with that. They're okay with just letting these things that are designed to control our life control them. You know what I mean? They're just okay with it, or they're not. Again, they're not self-aware enough to realize that that's what's happening to them. And another thing I'll add to this video too is that it seems like a lot of kids today don't really go outside, at least not to the same level that we used to when we were kids. Guys, when I was a kid, I grew up in kind of the early 2000s, kind of the 2010s-ish era, so kind of around then. That's kind of, that's when I was a kid, and that's kind of when I grew up. Most of my childhood was spent in kind of the 2010s, early 2000s kind of era. And so during that time, I remember that was sort of the beginning of the internet. Not really the very beginning, but it was sort of the early stages of the internet. And so it hadn't really taken over people's lives quite yet. And so as kids, we would go in the neighborhood and we would find other kids to like play sports with, or play tag with, or go on some kind of adventure with, or ride bikes or things like that. Like, we spent a lot of time outside as kids, and I think that was really important for our development, you know what I mean, as human beings. And it just seems like today I rarely see that, you know what I mean. I almost never see kids spending time outside. It's most of the time they're pretty much inside, just on their devices. I would imagine that's where they're spending most of their time. But it's kind of sad to see that there are not many kids today who spend a lot of time outside, or who see value in spending time outside, when that's in my opinion, that's an incredibly important part of growing up. You know what I mean? Is being outside, and whether it be playing with other kids, whether it be playing sports, whether it be going on a walk, whatever it is. It can be the simplest shit, but a lot of kids aren't doing that today. A lot of kids are just consumed by their devices, like I said, and it's kind of sad to see that. I think that's going to be something that sort of arrests their development, if you will, or impacts their development growing up. Because if you're not spending time outdoors, if you're just spending your entire time on a screen, well, you're not really engaged with life. You know what I mean? You're just not. And if you're a kid who just spends all your time escaping reality, well, that's definitely not good for you. So, but yeah, that's just something that I've seen. A lot of kids today don't really spend a lot of time outdoors, nearly as much as we did when we were kids. And obviously I'm a young dude. I'm 27 years old at the time that I'm recording this video, so I'm still a relatively young person. But so I don't want to sound like grandpa boomer over here, but I do think what I'm saying is true, and I think a lot of you guys can resonate with what I'm saying. And I'm not sure where the future goes with this kind of stuff. Yeah, guys, you gotta change your behavior. You know what I mean? If you're one of these people who sits around all day, for hours and hours and hours, and just scrolls on the fucking phone all day long, and you have no interest in going outside, you have no interest in the real world at all. You're just gone, consumed in these things. If you were to stop, put the fucking cell phone down for a second, and then go outside, go into nature, go into the world, go into the city, whatever it is, and just be present in the real world, that would help a lot. You know what I mean? That would help a lot of people. I know that certainly helped me, guys. I'm a person who, I do not have Instagram, I do not have TikTok, I do not have Facebook, I do not have Snapchat, I do not have any of these apps that most people are consumed in. I just don't have them because I don't want to lose myself in them. You see what I mean? I don't want to be someone who's consumed by these things 24/7. I don't want to be that person. I mean, obviously I have a YouTube. I'm talking to you guys through a screen right now on YouTube, but YouTube is different. It can be educational. You know what I mean? YouTube can help you grow. YouTube isn't just all brain rot bullshit or like emotionally stimulating shit that you see on a lot of these other apps. So, um, that's a lot of people ask me why I don't use those apps. Why, why I'm not on Facebook, why I'm not on TikTok, why I'm not on Snapchat, all these different things, why I'm not on Instagram. It's because I don't want my mind to be controlled by an app. You know what I mean? I want to be able to think for myself. I want to be able to think clearly. I want to live my life. I don't want to compare my life to other people's fake highlight reels on social media. You know what I mean? I want to live in reality. I don't want to live in a false reality. And these apps are addictive. You know what I mean? I don't want to fall victim to a cell phone. You know what I mean? I don't want to fall victim to being one of these people who's just consumed completely by cell phone apps. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that person. I want to be myself. I want to be the person who is still here in the real world, living my life and feeling good. You know what I mean? And pursuing the things that I want to pursue in the real world, in real life. In other words, I haven't transitioned into the digital world completely. You know what I mean? I'm still here in reality, and I think that's really important, and I think people would feel a lot better if they were that way. You know what I mean? But, yeah, guys, I don't want to drag this one out too long. Most people don't want to go outside anymore. Most people don't really want to participate in the real world or engage with reality too much these days. Unfortunately, most people are just in a mode of escapism 24/7 or distraction 24/7 or whatever, and a lot of them don't see a problem with it. A lot of them aren't able to see that that's what's happening. They're not able to look at themselves in the mirror, and that's unfortunate that that's the world that we live in, guys, today in 2026. But if there's any message that I'm trying to get across in this video to be positive and to help you guys, it's that take a break from this technology stuff. Take a break from the cell phone. Take a break from all these apps. Take a break from video games. Take a break from, constantly watching TV shows or whatever it is, or just all that kind of stuff. Take a break from that kind of stuff and go outside and enjoy nature and reconnect with reality around you. Reconnect with the reality that's around you. Reconnect with the people that are around you, and become present again, because that's a lot of the time that's the solution for depression and anxiety and all this sort of stuff that people have today due to these apps. So anyways, guys, that's kind of the video. Let me know if you guys agree in the comment section. My name is John. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.